So this talk is going to a longer, I think it could be 2 parts. Have you understood now fully what self-interest is and how it functions, how it destroys your life, how it destroys the life of others, how it separates you from other person, how it separates you with your partner, with your wife, your husband? The self separates. Friends are separated through self. Mostly people say there is no friendship. Why they say? All over the world where you go, because every person have self and this self separates. So don't create any center, because it doesn't matter any center, if it is energy center or the material center or the center of anything, it will destroy. But since thousands of years you have been told that you have to concentrate in the center. The reality is that the center is the cause of your all bad life and all confusion, conflicts, and all this butchering happening and killings and separation from national to other nation, at national level or family level or society level. It is the center actually. And this center, as I said, is created by self. Self cannot exist alone if you do not feed it through narrow activities. You stop feeding it and it is died. It is dried up and falls down like a yellow dry leaf falls down from the tree. And it is very powerful actually. If you do any action against it, if you try to remove it through your so-called meditation, it will become more stronger. That's why your all so-called spiritual people or sannyasis or so-called monks and also so-called your commercial teachers, your commercial gurus who has very good names, you understand it now? They are more self-centered. Their self is very stronger because they have tried to become, to cover their self through their so-called spiritual layers, their spiritual meditations, their taking a holy name or becoming sannyasis, or becoming is the action of self. Becoming is the act of self. Self is very cunning. It can become sannyasi and it can become enlightened. It can declare a great enlightened guru himself, and it can function, this person can function as a guru, but he is actually in darkness. Such is the self. So you must be nobody, then self is removed. Self is created by becoming. Becoming. These words you must understand. Becoming. The movements of being, many forms the self. The highest intelligence is to remove the self through right attention to the self, right observation without judgments, and watching, keeping an eye, intensive eye on the self, its activities, then it is gone. Otherwise, if you do anything to remove it, if you do prayer or if you do meditation to remove it, it will become more stronger, because that meditation will originate from yourself. That prayer will come from the invention of self. Self can invent meditation. That's why I tell you, your methods of meditations are invention of self. It doesn't matter who has invented it. If it is a so-called enlightened person or non-enlightened person, or these all are coming from self. So it will lead you to the self again, cannot make you free, cannot set you free. It's a very logic, isn't it? You see the beauty of it, and then you will see the beauty of the truth and the depth of it. Then you will know that how strong is it. Then self is gone. Otherwise, self is very strong energy. It has nourished not only by you, but billions, trillions of people who lived before you and before them. So it is nourished, so it has the history. Very long history in the past, and it is very strong. It's like a demon. You know, demon or evil is nourished, then it manifests. The self then manifests. Is a collective destruction. The Second World War. Second World War, the manifestation of self of billions of people is collected, then its works destroys the world, which is war. Second World War, first and many before, and now the same history is going to repeat again. So you have seen the colors and its function, how self works through you, and you are the house of self, where self lives in you and uses you. You become the self yourself. You know, you are the house of self. Self is itself a root cause of every evil. When you understand it, then you say goodbye to self. Then your house is not the house of self, but it is empty from the self. And that empty house, which is empty from the self, is filled by interests. You know, you don't have to then find the meditations and this or so-called enlightenment and nonsense. You then, that interest then reveals everything. You can then touch the truth. then the doors are open for every directions. I said you very deeply, profoundly, the mechanism of self-interest, how it has taken over your life. I have told you the consequences and its destruction in the world, and how billions, trillions of dollars costs to maintain this self. This is very important. You want to remove the poverty, and this statement you must now listen very carefully. If you remove yourself, if you can dissolve yourself, then every person will be the multi-millionaire on this planet. We have much money, but the self sucks your all money. This statement is not given yet. It is very revolutionary and very dangerous. The poverty can be removed no through creating the big industries and lots of technological machines and complicated electronic things. It will create more problem, but if you remove the self, then poverty is removed, because lots of money will be freed from your greed. You have purchased it, and every person on this planet, every person is then millionaire. Much money is there. The self is possessing it. You understand now it very deep and contemplate on it. That how much self itself costs. It's very expensive affair. It's like an animal inside you which is sucking all the time, demanding food. You are supplying your whole life. All the food of the earth this animal is eating. This is the self. And when you are free from the self, actually lots of diseases will go away from you. Lots of your diseases which are the outcome of yourself, which is ignorance, diabetics, obesities, laziness, less energy, depressions. I talked lots of now depressions, many talks on it I have given. Have you heard all these things? Depressions is gone. So as I told you, as I say you, that we are giving billions of dollars for the pharma industries, and you are swallowing lots of tablets. A woman phoned me this week, and she said she cannot walk. She's not 40 even. She can't walk. Her legs are paining and having lots of pain in her body, and she is then out of her body pain, she got depressive. So I asked her what can be done. She said, yeah, it's better if I have more money. I said, if you have more money, you will be having more pain. You will be more depressive. This is what is happening. And she didn't say that I want to be free from pain, but she was thinking of money. That I said that going out few steps, walks, fresh air cost no money. Fresh air cost no money. Exercise cost no money. Getting early morning cost no money. Eating organic food costs no money. You always want to have money, 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 and you think that your brain is vast. You think that money will solve your all problems. Then you are wrong. Money will not solve your any problem. On the contrary, it will increase your own more problems. The history says that money and powers has not solved human problems. It has increased even more. But still you emphasize to get more money. And this all thinking is coming from self. Self is always pity, very small thing, narrow, superficial and shoddy. So dissolving yourself is profitable for the whole earth, for other humanity. Not only humanity, also the animals will be freed because they are suffering because of yourself. Yourself wants to eat meat. Yourself wants to wear the clothes which is made of the skin of beautiful animals. They have to die for your luxury life, your stupidity. So many beautiful animals are disappearing because of your self. So how dangerous is self? You have seen it. And self-interest. This is the self-interest. So I give you one question and you should contemplate, meditate on it. This is the real meditation, that you sit down and silently and contemplate without thought that why I am living in self-interest, why I am living in the shadow of self-interest, and can this self-interest be removed and be dissolved and be destroyed immediately right now when you are listening to me, because tomorrow it will be more stronger. Time makes it more stronger. So it will not be dissolved in the process slowly, but it can be removed now or never. Slowly it cannot be. In the step by step, it cannot be removed. It's not possible. On the contrary, step by step means taking the time, and time is conditioning, and the things will become more condensed and more stronger, more powerful. See, watch, and follow all the time your self-interest. Then this light will destroy the self-interest. Then it will remain only the interest, which is very vital, which is full of energy, full of beauty, and full of life. Have you understood now fully what self-interest is and its destruction and consequences and its evil effect on whole humanity, whole planet, trees and animals, how it goes like one waves goes to the far away. Why do you live in self-interest? Why you have self-interest? You know why? Because you have been told since thousands of years that you have to achieve, you have to success, you have to gain, you have to become something. So you think that you have to prove it at anyhow, otherwise people will think you are stupid. You have to prove that you are securing good marks and becoming engineer or doctor in your family, otherwise your family will think you are stupid, and your friends will not respect you, you won't get job. So this self is nourished individually. You have to prove something, and I tell you, you don't have to prove anything. You have to live here on this beautiful planet. You live 80 years, afterwards mostly people get sick and go in coma and die, finish with many diseases. So before this 80 years, few people can also stay longer, 100 years without diseases, but very rare. So long span of living, 100 years we can say. Why you pursue the activities of self? Why? Why don't you pursue the activities of life, which is love? Life is love. Beauty is also love, isn't it? Why beauty is love? Because there is no self. Have you seen the self in beauty? Have you seen anywhere where beauty is? Is there any self? There is no self there, therefore it is love. Therefore it is also death. Because in death there is no self. And the beauty of death is that it has no self. And the beauty of love is that it has no self. The beauty of beauty is because it has no self. The beauty of life is beauty because the life has no self. Life is the vast energy moving like an ocean, like a river. That's why there's no place for the self, because self has no movement. It is the centered, it is sitting like this, dead entity, and governing your whole life activities. That's why life is possessed by the self, and life is imprisoned by the self, and the life cannot free from the self, and it is then dead, imprisoned. You have imprisoned. The self-interest has imprisoned the life, set the life free. I declare today, this evening, live your life from the self-interest. It's the highest freedom. And without this freedom from the self, life is nothing but eternal sorrow. Freedom from the self is essential, necessary, and urgency, in urgency. Why don't you demand the freedom from the self-interest? The freedom from the self-interest is the highly form of, supreme form of life itself. I will come back to answer the pending questions which are pending for a long time. And this powerful talk which is flown just now from the universe, not for me. Me is self. Self cannot allow to flow the strong talk and teachings, So it is flown from the universe through this voice. And so get changed and be free from the self-interest. Namaste.